Before we start our journey north towards Alaska, there's a few things that we need to do to our van. We've got a recall that needs to be replaced. There is a potential lead exposure with this. We've got some upgrades that we need to do. And here is the upgraded WeatherTech mat. And we just need to do some general maintenance.
The whole van is coming apart. I'm so frustrated.
Because we have plans to cross off 2 more states before we pick up the Nuvo and head to Alaska.
Okay, so if you're new here, let me just back up a bit. If you're new here, this is our van, Mr. Lemon. There are 2 states that we knew starting our 50-state tour last year that we would not be taking him. One of them is Hawaii. It's way too expensive for us to ship him there, so we'll deal with that later on what to do. And the other one is Alaska, because we do not trust him to go to Alaska. In today's episode, we're in phase 1 of our summer series, where we're getting this van ready to go to a couple more states before we pick up the Nuvo van, which they're letting us borrow Nuvo Plus. I think it's one that you can rent. They have a rent before you buy kind of program, so I think that's one of the vans they're gonna let us borrow for the summer.
Before we get started on our maintenance projects, our upgrades, and the recalls that we've got going on, would you guys mind checking to see if you're subscribed? It doesn't cost you anything, it helps us out, and then that way you can follow along on our adventures through the rest of the 50 states and all the way to Alaska. So thank you in advance. Now let's get started. So our first item is a safety recall. This faucet we purchased a few years back. We've had it on our Amazon store for quite a while. So if you have purchased this, go and check and see if it's part of the safety recall. There is a potential lead exposure with this. So we're gonna go ahead and change this out today. The challenging part is getting access to this faucet. I actually have to take out all 3 drawers. I remember this when I changed it. It was quite challenging. I'm just gonna put it wherever we can. Okay, hopefully that's the hardest part. Highly doubt it though. Let's check to make sure the water pump is off, just in case. It is off, okay. And then I'll make sure there's no pressure. Oh, that would have been a huge mess. Okay, so here we have our cold water connection, our hot water connection. I just need to undo those. And then up here, you've got 2 screws that hold this anchor down. Basically back this up, take that nut off, and then this whole thing can come out, and then we'll have it out. Hopefully it goes that easy. And we will be replacing the faucet with this one. Very similar. So I'm gonna take this apart right here first. There is the faucet. It's out. That was pretty easy. Looking at the instructions, this looks pretty simple to do. So I'm going to start by taking off all this foam. Put that in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just redo all this whole process of putting it all back together, and I'll show it to you when I'm all done. So this is the weight for the hose, for the nozzle.
Which we did not have one of those before.
No. I think it's time for a test. So I have reinstalled the faucet, connected the water lines, the hot and cold, and then the sprayer nozzle with the weight, and then secured it to the countertop. It was actually pretty easy. I mean, maybe took 10 minutes or so. So now I'm going to turn on our water pump and test it. So the first thing is, check the cabinet. There are no leaks for the connections that are down inside here. So now we just need to check the hot and cold water. Nice. Okay. I'll call that a success. So for this next upgrade, I wanted to say thank you to ETRAILER for sponsoring this video. I went on their website and they've got WeatherTech products. And so I was able to find this trailer hitch step. So this actually gets installed on the trailer hitch at the back of the van. And this is super helpful since we don't have our box and ladder rack on the back of the van. It makes getting in and out of the van and access to the back much easier having the step back there. But I also was able to get some floor mats. Our van comes with a mat, but as you can see, it's not really secured in any way to the van, and it's kind of weathered pretty poorly over time. You can see right here, this is where my foot rests when I'm driving. So we went ahead and got an upgraded WeatherTech mat, and here is the upgraded WeatherTech mat. It's formed to the actual van, so it has a nice fit. It will stay watertight. It's also got these kind of basins where it will collect all the water and everything. And most importantly, it's got a way to secure it, so it's not going to slide around when we're in the van, you know, driving around, just kind of doing normal daily life. So we have this, and I also got this utility mat. So this has a couple of really nice purposes. One, we can set it outside the van as like a mat. We don't have to worry about it getting wet overnight if it rains or anything like that. And the other thing is, this is big enough that I can lay underneath the van and work if I have any maintenance issues, and there's a little bit of padding here. So this WeatherTech utility mat is going to live right here, and it actually fits perfect between the bench seat and the sliding door. Then when we get to camp and we set it up, we can just pull it outside and have it sit outside the door. The most important part, and the thing I am looking forward to, is this mat. So this just slides in here, scoop. Perfect.
Wow, that's nice. That'll come in handy in these colder states that will have rain.
Yes, when we come into like rain and mud, it'll definitely help keep all that goo up here. So we just have to prep the surface by wiping it down with an alcohol wipe. Then we apply this little like button to the floor, and then the WeatherTech snaps in here. Nice and easy. So once you put this down, there's really not a whole lot of movement with it, so make sure you get it right where you want. You go ahead and push this in. There you go. Pull off this, put it right there. Hold it down firmly. Nice. And now you repeat on the other side. All done. That was nice and easy, and it fits really, really well.
Okay, 2 down, 1 to go. All right, so is this a harder one?
Definitely not harder. So we went ahead and got the WeatherTech bump step. It's the 24-inch one. It's going to slide right in here into the 2-inch receiver. All the parts come included. So comes with the included hardware to attach it, but it's quite literally slide it in. Get your bolt. Yep. Okay. This nut goes in here. This slides in.
Oh.
And I just want to make sure I got it correctly. Yep, I did. Okay.
And then you just slide in and bolt it.
So you slide it in, you line up that. Mine won't fit with this flat washer because of this bracket that's right here. So, but it doesn't really need it. It just needs this lock washer so it doesn't back out. And there's our step. Now the beauty of this step is that I can stand here, make my bed, reach up here, do maintenance, whatever I need to do, and wow, look what I just noticed.
Oh my gosh!
And our whole van is falling apart.
Oh my gosh!
More fun stuff to fix. With this bump step, I'm able to have better access to my camera, the lights, making the bed. It just makes life so much easier back here, and it provides a little bit of protection to the bumper so you don't hit yourself. So if you are interested in these items or any of the items from ETRAILER that we've installed on the van, you can check out our storefront. We'll leave a link right down here and in the description. But yeah, just want to say a thanks to ETRAILER for sponsoring this video. So let's continue with the rest of the maintenance items.
Oh my gosh. What in the heck is going on?
The whole van is coming apart. I'm so frustrated because it's almost like vinyl that they've attached by gluing it on, and then they put this little tiny wood frame on top of it. And it's just, I wouldn't even call it nailed. It's more like little brad nails. Here, I can show you. So you can see right here, there's just these little brad nails holding it in. And I think by putting this fan right here, there was just a little bit of extra weight on this.
So it's our fault?
That it ripped off. I mean, I guess it's my fault, but my goodness, like, you literally can't mount that. How do I take this apart? I think I'm gonna have to like cut along this edge,
Re-stick it.
re-glue this down, and then screw this to the actual wood. They need to stop using this vinyl. This stuff is garbage. There is a frame back here that I can screw it to.
Why didn't you the first time?
Well, I didn't think that this was ever going to fall off, so I didn't think it was necessary to screw it down any more than it already was.
Here's my thought. What if the whole entire thing fell on you?
That would suck. That would suck if this whole thing fell down. Because they put this like vinyl wrap over it, you can't tell how things are actually like constructed. And so you assume that they use the right product and it's installed in the right way to support a fan that weighs a few ounces. But they didn't. So now I have a much larger project on my hands.
It's the next day. It got way too hot yesterday. I think the high was close to 100. Maybe it was like 97. But it got way too hot for us to continue on yesterday. Today, we are going to update you on a couple of things that need updating, and then also we've had a coolant leak for a while now. So I think it's time for Bob to change the reservoir. I think he wants to do that, and yeah, whatever else Bob needs to do, because we literally are leaving for, I'll tell you at the end of this video where we're going, but we have to leave, and we gotta leave soon. So
on the back of our van, we have been rocking a tire rack carrier with a ladder and a box on the passenger side for about 4 years.
Did you say rockin'?
I said rockin'.
Oh my gosh, sorry, that threw me. Okay, we've been rocking.
So we've been rocking this thing. And honestly, we paid cash for it, not sponsored, whatever. But we put this on. I was in love with it. It was amazing. So this is an Aluminess product. So the reason that I went with Aluminess, well, honestly, back 4 years ago, there wasn't a lot of options, but I did actually really like the Aluminess product because there's no penetrations kind of in the door or the body itself. This all attached to like the exterior brackets and the latch in the middle. So for me, I just thought, oh, that's a great idea that I don't have to, put a hole in the van. We went with it and it had been working amazing up until a few weeks ago when this bracket failed. This is actually this top bracket right here on the ladder. So this part attaches to the hinges and then it kind of wraps around the door frame. So when this failed, to make a long story short, I reached out to them, said, hey, this had failed. They asked for some information from me. So we exchanged emails back and forth about the product, what it was, and was it under warranty, all those kind of things. So then they sent me a quote. They basically said, hey, it's not covered under warranty, and here's a quote for the repair part, which is $140.
Yeah, because you need 2 brackets?
And you need 2 brackets for this side. Both brackets failed. It was $140 for the replacement parts. So when I was talking with Aluminess back and forth over many emails, they said that this was not covered under the warranty, that this was considered like normal wear and tear. So I guess having a part fail at a weld is normal wear and tear. But the real problem comes into this side. So, sorry guys, I had to step out of the sun into the shade so you could actually see what I'm holding. So this bracket is for the box. It is on the passenger side, and honestly, it is one of the reasons that I purchased this setup, is because again, it attaches to the hinges and the lock on the door, and there's no penetrations in the actual body of the van. However, Aluminess no longer makes this product. So in order to get these brackets, I have to replace this. And we don't really have the time for that. So we're kind of in a bind. I'm trying to find a machine shop that can basically reinforce these. I just don't know if we're gonna be able to get it done in time for us to hit the road. So these brackets I actually left on, but just because time and getting it off, but you can see it is cracked right here. Here's the challenge that we're running into with this. This isn't something that we can just throw inside the van and take with us across the country to make, find a place to do repairs. I need it repaired now because that stuff is off the van and I have no place to put it until it's repaired and back on the van. We're working really hard to see if we can come up with a solution. I don't know if we're going to be able to. So where we are at today is I have reached out to Aluminess, asked them to give me a call. I think it'll be much easier for us to get on a call together, work through all the details. I can ask a few questions, they can give me answers, and then we can get this resolved hopefully fairly quickly, because we are in kind of a bind and need this so that we can continue on. Moving on to another issue that the van has been having. In last week's video, I shared with you guys that the alternator was not charging our batteries, and I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. So I spent quite a bit of time trying to diagnose what was going on. And what I found is that the alternator was trying to generate power, or at least it was telling it to, but the battery wasn't receiving any power. And so I dug into things, did some troubleshooting, and what I found was this fuse. I don't know if you can see it very well. This is the main fuse that comes off the alternator onto the bus bar in the back of the van. And if you notice, there is clearly signs of some heat stress. You can also see it on the fuse body itself, or the metal piece for the fuse. And when I took this apart to test it, I found that the washer was installed incorrectly. So it was fuse block, washer, fuse, and then the wire with a nut on top. Having a washer between the source creates heat. And so I'm assuming that is why this fuse is discolored on one side. So that's where the washer was installed, is on this side of the fuse where you can see signs of heat stress. The long story short, I changed this fuse. I had to purchase a new one, order it, get it here, put it in, installed it, and then tested it. And it is charging our batteries now.
So did we ever have to really change the alternator?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I'm like, wait a minute.
That's a separate issue.
Okay,
So the
okay.
alternator still needed to be replaced.
Okay.
But there's nothing wrong with the alternator. I did tweak a few of the settings on the Balmar just to make sure that it was, operating correctly, with the Lithionics battery. And they're just minor tweaks, just kind of maximizing the capability. And then, I verified everything between the Balmar and the battery, or the Lithionics battery app, that everything is working correctly now. I feel good about that.
Okay.
I'm just super frustrated that our electrical system is not good. But, at this point, almost everything is replaced.
Yeah,
So-
this is practically a brand new van. We just need to replace the seats.
Yeah.
And-
There's some cosmetic things, well, in addition to the brackets on the back, but let's not go there. So,
Okay, there's your update.
there's our update. So let's see, where are we at for items? So we've updated this, we've updated this. Okay. I think the next thing that we need to do is actually a little more invasive in the van. I actually need to install a new coolant reservoir. So let's see, how does this sit in our van? So this would be towards the front of the van, and there's a small little hairline crack about midway between these two lines. It doesn't create any major issues in that it just leaks out a little bit of coolant when it gets really hot. And so now that it's summertime, I think it's about time that we do this. And I've tried some minor repairs of putting a little compound on there to seal it. I put a piece of tape on it, but it's just time to install this. So you can see a little piece of tape and some compound I put on there trying to keep it in there. And that's about where the level maintains with this little crack that's right there.
Is this the most difficult part?
This is the most, well, I don't have this replacement hose or this clip, so.
If you break it?
If I break it, we're hosed. Oh, perfect, okay.
You didn't break it?
I did not break it, but it's not off yet either. Got it.
So clearly it's discolored. That's kind of weird. But luckily we got a new one.
Okay, he's done, guys. Hopefully it works.
Where did it go? That was easier and more challenging than I thought. Easier to actually get out. A little more challenging to get all the hose clamps back on, but we got her done. Since I simply just like vacuumed out all of the coolant, I should be able to just pour this back in, and then the system there shouldn't be any air bubbles. I didn't introduce any air because I just emptied out the system, and I just need to refill the hoses. We are actually completely out of window washer fluid, and I have a feeling we're gonna need it for the bugs. So this final project that I didn't even know that I needed to do, but we're gonna have to wait until next week's episode to give you an update. This is gonna take quite a bit of time to take this apart, do it right. We're just gonna leave it there for now, but I'm gonna continue to work on this, get it all taken care of, and we'll show you in next week's video.
I'm back in the video, guys. Now, I can't help with all of the stuff he's doing. I mean, I do help a little when I put the camera down, but mostly I've just been behind the camera in this episode. Actually, you're getting this today. This is today. You're getting this afternoon. So that's how real time we're living right now. We need to get back on the road. There's 2 states that we want to do before Alaska. Do you want to tell them?
We are gonna head north to Montana and Idaho.
Yeah. I really want to do Yellowstone. I don't know. I've never done it. We've never done it.
No,
So
never been there.
That's what's coming up. We're in Mr. Lemon. Yeah, so those are our 2 states that we hope to mark off. Maybe more, maybe, we don't know what's going on. We're just really waiting for the Nuvo van to be ready for us to get it in order to take it through Canada and up to Alaska. Because clearly we can't take our van. Like, guys, this thing just, I don't know.
He's the gift that keeps on giving.
And we have new merch, guys. Can you see it? VanLife-ish.
Yeah.
VanLife-ish. And then let me show you the back. I did some just in white so that I can put them on fun colors for the summer. Pinks, greens, and blues. But like bright ones. And then Bob's is sweaty.
Sweaty, VanLife-ish.
You can get. You love it?
I love it. The colors on the back, it's awesome.
I know. So we did more of a cream and then colored things like this. Same design though. And I think you can get this on like a darker blue, like a hunter green, like some kind of like bricky red and stuff like that. So new merch for the
Check it
summer.
out.
We also have, sorry, I was behind the camera, but, and then we also on our website have a new t-shirt for our bucket list series coming up. We will be revealing that, I think, next week, probably. You can go look at it right now if you want. We have it already, and then we're also making a 4th of July one celebrating 250 years.
The semi-cinquentennial or something like that?
Yeah, America's 250-year birthday. Yep. And so, I don't know if that's on the website yet or not. We haven't seen it. We haven't gotten to like, I like to like get them in, get samples, make sure it's good quality and stuff like that. But anyways, that's enough from us. From here on out, it should be travel videos only.
Yep.
Going to Montana.
Montana, all the way up to Yellowstone, and then maybe we'll cut across to Idaho, Boise. Yeah, we'll see. We're open.
Yeah, we're open. We have a couple of weeks. I'm just checking, because I feel like Yellowstone's in more than one state.
Yellowstone is in more than one state. You can go to Wyoming or Montana.
Yeah, because it says Wyoming. When I look it up on the map, it says Wyoming.
Yes, there's different park entrances. And it's a huge area, so.
So we don't know which state we're checking off, is what we're saying.
That's also a good point, yep. We might be going to Wyoming and then Montana and then Idaho. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Guys, give us ideas of what to do aside from Yellowstone. We're open to anything. That's all we got.
Yeah, until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.